everyone, it's Claire Riley. Thanks so much for joining me for this super fast 10-minute training on how you can create a whole month's worth of daily Facebook content in 10 minutes or less. Today what we're going to go through is the 4 steps that you need to follow to create this beautiful strategy. And I just want to put a little bit of a caveat and say, if you haven't created a great deal of Facebook content before, if this is your first time, if you're playing with your messaging, it might not happen all in 10 minutes to start with, but this will give you some really beautiful structure and a really easy process for you to follow every time that you do it. The more that you do it, the faster it will get, especially if you end up with people who can help you with the scheduling, and once you know what works and what doesn't work for you and for your audience as well. So let's jump in and get started. Okay, so the first thing that I just want to go through these are the 4 steps for our game plan that we're going to talk through today. So the first thing that you need to focus on is understanding what it is that you want to get out of having a month's worth of content on your Facebook page. Then we're going to pick 7 themes. You can pick 4, you can pick 30, it doesn't matter, but today we're going to focus on 7, and that's my suggestion. We're going to create 4 posts for each of those themes that you've created within the framework of the focus of the outcome that you want to get for the month, and then we're going to go ahead and schedule it. So super simple. So the first thing that we need to have a think about, and there's room for you to write this down in your playbook as well, is what do you want to get out of this month? Now, it doesn't have to just be selling something. It doesn't have to be a big launch. You might already have content around those campaigns already, and that's totally fine. Or you might not, and that's also totally fine. You might just be trying to grow your list or your following, improve your profile, play with your messaging, experiment, whatever it is. Just get clear on what it is that why it is that you're actually creating Facebook content and who you're creating it for. So spend a minute or two just to get really clear on what it is that you want to get out of the month that you're creating content for now. The next thing that we're going to do is to pick a few themes. Now, in your playbook, there's actually 30 or more themes that you can choose from. Now, some people like to go through and put one post or create one thing next to each of those topics. If that feels better to you, go for it. Absolutely, you can do that. If you pick, say, 3 or 4 that are really great and you want to create 7 or 8 posts under each of those categories, that's totally cool as well. What I'm doing here is I've given you 12 here on this slide. As I said, there's 30 in the playbook. If you choose just 7 of these and create 4 posts under each of these categories, you'll actually have 4 weeks worth of content with a post per day that is in beautiful context with whatever it is that are your goals for your Facebook content for that month as well. So I'm not going to go through all of these. They're mostly pretty self-explanatory, but the couple that I think personally are not negotiable and that seem to work really well for most people in most businesses is questions, tips. There's paid and free offers in there. Super important that when you're giving away all of this amazing quality and value, that you're also letting people know how they can work with you or how they can come into your world and find out more about what sort of things you offer. So the questions is a really great tool. Now, when you're using questions and they're contextualized in the space that you play in what you do, and they're really well thought out questions, not just what are you having for dinner tonight if you don't work in that space, it really helps to build people's understanding of who you are and what you do, even if they're not engaging with that post every single time. The other thing that does is it obviously, when people are engaging with those sorts of posts, questions, tips, inspiration, all of that sort of thing, is it also opens the door for you to start a conversation and to keep the conversation going. So pick whichever ones you like. The ones that are on the screen now are the ones that I feel like are the most low-hanging fruit that work for most people, and they're pretty easy to come up with a heap of little questions or tips or promo posts or all of that sort of thing under each of these. So you choose whichever ones look good to you. Write them down at the top of the page or the top of wherever, and then we're going to go on to step number 3. So step number 3 is to actually start creating some of the posts under those topic areas. So say you've chosen questions, you're going to just write down 4 questions that are in the context of what it is that you're trying to achieve for that month. So let's say you're a coach and you want to sell a new VIP coaching program over the month of whichever month you're doing. You might choose to ask 4 different questions along the lines of, who here has a coach? Have you worked with a coach? What did you get out of working with a coach? What do you love and hate about working with a coach? What do you What have you heard about working with a coach? All of that sort of thing. So you can see that if someone just saw these questions, they would understand the space that you play in, even if they weren't engaging with you. But if you can ask questions in a way that is inviting for them to come and answer them, then it does some really beautiful things for you as well. Obviously opens that question, opens the conversation for you to have with them. So same sort of thing goes for things like tips, really short, sharp, tiny little bits of information, tips, information, education, anything that's really helpful. What we want is for people to start gathering that information about, wow, I've got already it's reminded me of something, or it's information, or it's something that I didn't know, it's a fact or something like that. They automatically start to gather these beautiful breadcrumbs and start to turn it into a really great picture of who you are, what you do, who you work with, and why they might want to work with you in the future as well. So for any of these, you may want to go and create some branded tiles in somewhere like Canva or WordSwag or wherever you do your beautiful art and that sort of thing. If you're not there yet, that's totally fine. But I do just want to put a little asterisk here and say that obviously Facebook algorithm loves images and videos and a mixture of all of these mediums. So if you can, try and include images somewhere. 50% is a really good rule if you can start there, but it could just be a selfie, or it could be a stock image that's related and relative to who you are and what you do, not just random stock images, please. So just have a think about what you're going to couple these posts with. It could be links to other external resources or people. It could be your own images and so on and so forth. So just have a think about how it's going to all sort of come together. All right. And also, as I've mentioned there, see if you can reuse any existing content, because we all have more content than we think we do. So have a bit of a fossick around, go through your website, have a look at old posts that you've done. You could go into Facebook groups that you're active in and search for your name and see what sort of things you've posted there before. You might not necessarily even need to start from scratch with any of this. Okay, the fourth step is probably the simplest, is to actually get it out there. So we don't want to go to this beautiful amount of effort and spend all this energy creating all this content if it's never going to see the light of day. We don't want it gathering dust on your laptop or your phone. But having said that, the word scheduling sometimes has people running for the hills. So if that's you, don't worry about it. You can literally just save it somewhere safe, put it somewhere in like Asana or Evernote, iNotes, Dropbox, Google Drive, wherever you keep your stuff, so that it's at your fingertips. And the beauty of doing it this way is that it's almost like batching. It is batching, where you can have 5 minutes while you're waiting for your coffee or something like that, and you can quickly go into Dropbox or Asana or wherever it is that you've saved it, copy and paste, go into Facebook and post it in the moment if you didn't get a chance to schedule it out a month or a week in advance. It's still there, and it makes it easier, so you're not having to sit down and open your laptop and think about what am I going to post and then get procrastinating scrolling and not end up actually doing your Facebook content as you were planning on doing. And finally, when you're doing these posts, whether you're doing them in the moment or scheduling, we want to have some really strong calls to action. So again, in your playbook, there's a list of some calls to action. They're not all just click here to come and buy my thing. There's so many different things that you might want to ask your tribe to do. So have a look at that and make sure that you're including a call to action on at least 30% of your posts in a non-salesy, gross way. There's lots of other things that you can invite your audience to do. So just find different ways that kind of is going to work for you. And as I said, if you're asking questions and sharing information and that sort of thing, and people are commenting and engaging on your posts, please, please, please do them the service of continuing that conversation. They've taken the time to engage with your content. You need to go and take the time to engage back. So it's as simple as that. And I hope that that has just given you some really easy structure to make it really simple. It doesn't have to be this over thought out, amazing, big bells and whistles with 15 posts a day or anything like that. You've got a little bit of a structure now. You've got your workbook. It's just about rinsing and repeating, testing it out and seeing what works. I hope you've enjoyed that. I'd love to hear how you go with creating your Facebook content, hopefully for an entire month in about 10 minutes or less eventually. Big love.